Hey guys, Ricky here with another editing video for you today. We're going to talk about presets and how it can apply to some preset settings can apply to every single photo that you take. I have a user preset here I've already made called Do Me First, and you will see on every single photo that I have that say there will be a +5 in clarity and lens corrections. Every single photo has these options. I can easily hit reset and it takes away just those two little things, the clarity at +5 and down here lens corrections. Get them back, and that little adjustment makes a big difference, especially if you shoot in a RAW file. And so all of my photos upon import have those settings applied. But for the sake of this, let's create a new preset. We're going to go over here to presets, create preset, and we want to also apply auto settings to every photo. And we'll title this First Import. Now I do like to differentiate between like things I want to first import and apply those types of settings versus other presets, like say if I was going to use a VSCO type of preset or if I was going to make my own, that would be something I wouldn't do upon first importing. So let's create it. We'll replace it. And then it will show up over here, and every photo that I now import, I can apply it on import, like I showed you before, with these settings already done with auto tone. Now I would not honestly do auto tone every time because I need to see the raw file. It's good for me visually to see how I took the photo. Like I know that I tend to underexpose so I don't lose detail, and I just like to see the range of capabilities with that raw file and with where I started. And so that's just something I personally prefer, but that might be good for you, so you already have that starting place already laid out for you. So say I want to do even more adjustments. Say I want the clarity bumped up, I want the lights and my tone curve bumped up since I know I always do that, and I want my split toning in my usual place, and lens corrections, and I want my calibration at +2 on shadows because I always like my shadows warmer. I know that's a thing about myself I do to every photo, so why not adjust that? We can go over here to First Import, right click and update with current settings. Update. And now every time we go to import a photo, we will have that option for that preset to already be there to help with that editing process. So now that's one step less that I ever have to do myself. So here it's loading the photos from this folder, giving me previews, it's creating the thumbnails, file handling, build minimal previews. That's what it's doing for me already. So let's just select this file, and I want to apply a user preset, the new one we just made, First Import, import. All right, go over to the library, the develop module, and as you can see, that's the original file. This is with our presets applied, and everything's already just the way I would originally, or I would want it for every photo. So it's a really neat option to like just to get you started. Now, if I still want to auto tone, I can go through and adjust it for this photo specifically in case it didn't quite get it. I don't know if there's more information to gather after I've already adjusted it. So that's a thing I can do. Now I can go over to these previous photos. And we can apply the same preset every time. If you hover over other presets you have, it'll show you a preview of what that preset does to your photos. So that's what happened there. So we're on First Import, same thing, but I want to auto tone it to this photo, and my usual adjustments here. And then you can just go in and edit. But every single photo that you have right away, you can apply during import or then go through and add your preset and your set. Now, if I know, say I have a water landscape, and I know every time that I just want, a lot of contrast, a lot of drama, a lot of clarity, tone curve, I really want my S curve done in there, and say I know that every landscape I do is going to have these things built into it. It's gonna always be like this, and I know that I like my colors a certain way. Then I can create a preset that fully does all of these things for me. Oops. Getting a little click happy here. Let's pull this down. Some texture. So say this is the result that I want. This is the preset that I want to make for a quick, intense option for my photos. Then I can do the same thing, and I can just save this. Dramatic landscape. And then it has these settings here. I don't want to auto setting it because it already has auto tone applied and it already has adjustments made, so it would just further complicate things, so I wouldn't select it. Go ahead and hit create. And now for every landscape that I want, I can hit dramatic landscape and it will apply that. Remember, we made color corrections, and all these are just quickly done. Now, obviously they're not always going to work, but sometimes it gives you a starting point, and having that starting point can be everything. So say this tone curve isn't working for me in this photo. It's not hard to then go back and make changes to the preset settings that have been applied. So it's not hard to undo a preset, to take back various elements, or change things to further suit the specific photo. It's a fantastic option just to give you a starting point, because sometimes, and I hear that probably most from photographers with editing, is where do I start? What do I do? And it's because if you don't know Lightroom super well, then you can see all these control panels and like, I don't know what these do, or I don't know what every photo needs. How am I gonna make a compelling image if I don't really know how to work my way around Lightroom just yet? Where do I begin? Sometimes that's just going to simply mean using a preset, but it helps to really understand that preset, and that's a very important component, is understanding what adjustments have been made. You don't even have to understand Lightroom in its entirety to have that knowledge. You just need to go through and see what's been adjusted, how those are affected, and how that changes the photo. So, we can go back to the before, after, and that was with a preset and a few quick adjustments just to get me started. Now, obviously, you could fuss with this for days, but I could honestly be happy with this photo. I'd be happy sharing that. This one only has the Do Me First preset. Here's first import on it. Sorry, there we go. First import. That's already better. Let's try dramatic landscape. That's not that bad. So there's, if you want to just be done super quick, you can just apply that, make a few quick adjustments, and go on your merry way. You don't have to do any more or less unless you want to, but making the adjustments for the settings that you like specifically for you are going to help you create consistency in your photos, and that will help you as you learn to figure out your style, as you figure out what you like, as you figure out the elements in Lightroom that work for you. Now, say we did want to use a pre-bought setting. Here's a visco setting applied right away. And I'm like, well, I hate the color of that. I don't like that at all. But I don't know how to undo it. And that's the danger of buying a preset, is not knowing how things are adjusted. By also applying that preset, it doesn't have clarity selected, but I want that. So I'm going to have to go through and add the clarity that I want to the image after applying the preset. we're going to go through here. So if I'm looking at tone curve, it looks like, oh, nothing's adjusted. Click on that little panel, and VSCO is very popular for making these adjustments here. So if there's something I don't like or want, then I can just make those adjustments and start giving it the feel that I personally want in my images. But you have to know where these things are, how to look for them, and what's being changed. The HSL color panel, another huge option. You can also always just toggle these. These toggles here will completely reset the panel. And then you can see how big of an impact that preset applied to your photos. Another thing that VSCO loves to do, and I've actually already adjusted this, I've updated the preset so it doesn't have hardly any grain, is VSCO loves to add lots and lots of grain to make it look like film. So I like to take that off if it doesn't seem fitting. If it's bright middle of the day, I don't think, personally, grain doesn't always fit properly. And that means that you're forcing more light into the scene by adding noise from the camera by adjusting your ISO. And so that means grain. So that's another setting that VSCO puts in there. And then same here for camera calibration, they adjusted the color. And so I could undo that if I wanted, put it back to where I want. But that's kind of where making your own preset will help a lot, is just understanding the components that you ultimately really love and you want to see in your photos every time. So I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that you're able to make some easy presets to get yourself started and then build on that and help create, you know, preset packs that can help you with whatever genre of photography you're in, and, you know, improve your style and creating consistency in editing, and of course improving the efficiency of your workflow.